Got something new for you. Let's do this Friday.
Oh, God.
And I need you to follow up again in 2 weeks. Are you okay?
I don't like it. I'm so stressful. That's not enough time. How am I going to talk to everybody?
Hold on. It's okay. We're going to learn a little bit more in today's episode about remaining calm and dealing more with these stressful situations. By the end, promise me, you'll get this. You got it. You'll be good. We're going to also call back to some of our recent episodes where we've had some of our guests that have helped us find our purpose, find our people, and find our place. Welcome back to the Principal Choice Podcast. We are going to talk a bit today. Oh, I'm already messing up, but that's okay. We're staying calm. We're going to talk some today about staying calm during stressful situations, and even tie in some of the past episodes that we've had. So, Milena, tell me a little bit about the first steps that you take when you are in more of a stress zone and you are presented with something new that gets added onto your plate. What are some of the first things that you try to do as a person to not overdo it?
Right. I am very much a freak out person. So I kind of initially let that kind of nervous energy sit there for a minute so I can kind of process it and just go, it's okay. This is just new information. Take a breather and think. And I think if you just sit with that information, you're not spiraling at that point. You're able to kind of pick through the facts that have been given, what needs to happen there. And then you're thinking of questions, follow-ups, things like that to make your life a little bit easier as you move forward when those new implementations, rules, things like that kind of take place. But it's not the easiest thing to do.
It definitely, and that's 100% fair too. Like, I think for me too, like the first step is you have to recognize it first, and maybe not even recognizing what's being added on because you're already there, but recognizing what your body is going through, what you're feeling, understanding like, oh, okay, like I'm starting to get a little heated, or I'm starting to get overwhelmed and like not have any idea what I have to do next. Sometimes it's just best to just take a step back, breathe. Okay, what's going on here? Or take a walk, whatever you need to do. We talked about that with Errol too, a little bit. Not overly reacting to something, starting a situation off right. I know we talked a little bit more about starting your day off right with something positive, but that goes into those negative situations too. You get something that's more stressful and you immediately tell yourself, this sucks, this is stressful, versus give me a second. Okay, I can do it. I just may need time. It's already going to be better.
Absolutely. And it's really recognizing what your body is telling you. And I think that does go hand in hand because, just like you said with Errol's episode, he says how saying something positive in the morning kind of helps you throughout the day. Yeah. But you realize that, when those negative things happen, it feels different in your body and in your system. 100%. And I've learned that, for me, if I feel it in my chest, that means I'm a little scared. That means it's a little bit more fearful. I don't know what's happening. My heart rate's going up. And that's really what you need to recognize. Like those changes in your body are going to be the signal to say, hey, something's not right. Take a moment and breathe. But it's really hard to get to that point because for a while there I was like, all right, this is just my life. I'm just going to have to push through and hope for the best. But that's not always the best case. And I don't know about you, but I think sometimes reminding myself that I just have to take that next step, no matter how scary it is, it'll always get better afterwards. I think that's always been like a little bit of a disconnect too, is remembering like that first step. Like everything's scary when you first do it. New implementation, new job, new partner, new anything. Yeah. And it's just that, hey, it's okay. That free fall is okay because that's how we grow, how we change, and how we move forward. 100%.
And I think that's a good way to look at those stressful situations too. Trying to look at them more as a positive. I remember back when I was working in food, and that's going to be one of the more stressful environments that a lot of people work in. I remember when I was working at a place, there was more like a line cook, but it was all out front. So like the customers, they would see everyone working, they would do all of that stuff. And we would have to not freak out or anything like that, because the people are literally right there. And I think that's one thing too. After recognizing how you feel in those moments, you also need to understand how you're portraying that to other people. Not saying, hey, like, don't react. You're going to react, but understand how you're reacting. If you're stressed and you get asked a question and you just go, and you freak out, okay, yeah, like it's not going to go well. It's not a good look. But one of the things that I made sure to learn during that time period was no matter how many people are, no matter how long the line is, I can focus on the person in front of me. I can make sure their experience is good. I can try to make their day better. I can make sure their food is good too. Of course, that's the most important part. But they can also sense, whether it's a caller on the phone, whether it's someone you're talking to in person, they can sense if they're like, wow, this person doesn't want to talk to me. This kind of sucks. I know they're busy, but really, like, it definitely comes off to other people as well. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I think that's the main thing. Everybody just wants to feel like they are someone who matters, and everybody is a person who matters. That's something I truly, genuinely believe. But it's hard to do that if you're stuck in your own mind space. And it's hard to remain calm when that happens. And I think that is truly the hardest part, when it feels like everything is blowing up in your face. Everything is blowing up in your face. I mean, bad news after bad news after bad news, but you still have to move forward and trying to navigate that. And especially if you have people relying on you, I think that's the hardest part. How do you usually like handle that stress when you are the other person's support system? So if a huge implementation happens, it's high stress, it's very quick turnaround, things need to be done at a very expedited rate. Yeah. And you have to tell this to your team. And they're all freaking out because it's so quick, and they want to make sure that everything's all good. How do you navigate them and support them through that and help keep them calm? Yeah,
that's definitely hard, especially if you yourself are feeling stressed about it. The first thing, and I'll kind of just touch on what I just said just a little bit, and then I'll move forward. But knowing how I am communicating that information. If I pull everyone in a meeting and I'm like, all right, guys, we really got to do this. Like, if this is a big, they are going to fly off and they're going to think that this is not going to go well. Versus if I say, hey, we have something new happening. This is how it's going to look. This is how it should look. If it doesn't, let's all remain calm. Let's take it one day at a time. We're not the only ones going through this. We're all in this together as a company, as a department, as a crew, a team, whatever it might be. You're not the only one. I'm not the only one. We're in this together. That usually starts implementing that like trust element for that situation, at least. And then also, I mean, for me personally, I like knowing everything that's going on about something. So if I'm being asked questions, I'm finding the answer. I encourage them to be like, hey, ask me. Like, if I know, great, I'll tell you. If I don't, I'm sure someone else is going to have that question. Let's find the answer so we don't have to worry about it later. And then the last piece is just following up, making sure I am there being supportive. It's one thing to say, I'm here for all of you, and then someone texts you or messages you or calls you and you just don't answer and don't follow up. Like, you have to also follow through and show that dedication of what you are saying you're going to do. Not just, we're all motivated, we're going to do it. It's, no, we actually have to. So that's what it is, at least for me. And then also just remaining organized, encouraging people to make sure they're looking at everything for updates and all of that stuff. So.
Yeah, I really want to go back to what you were saying too about that communication, because I know we had talked about it with Kim earlier, and she gave great insight in being able to help and why it's so important to have that great communication with each other in your team. And I think really just driving that point home, it comes down to communication and what you said again, trust. And I think those things are always buildable over time. Exactly. And it's hard when you are feeling like you're thrown into that situation. Like, hey, you're a new manager, here's your team. Now you have to immediately build this. Oh, by the way, here's a new implementation. That can be very stressful.
100%.
But I think, you said it best. That follow-up, that follow-through, and making sure you are consistent helps build that quickly, that trust and communication.
100%. On that too, when you're saying to 26, 30, 40, 50 people that you're going to follow up with them, you're going to forget somebody. That is life.
You're human.
We're going to do another callback to an episode with Matt. where he said accountability is a two-way street. You have to also let them know in that communication, if I don't follow up, I need you to tell me. Like, the last thing that I want is me to accidentally check something off before it happened or forget about it. And then 3 months, exactly. And then 3 months later, they're like, well, you never followed up with me on this. I'm sorry. Could you let me know next time? Or, what else can you do on your end to make sure I'm in the know? Now, if it comes to something where they follow up with me 3 times and I'm still not doing anything, okay, that's me. That's a me problem, 100%. I'm the one that's fully lacking in that situation. But there has to be grace given there. It's not just this one, all-knowing being that's going to be like, they know everything and they will always, no, we're all human. We all make mistakes. That's what it is. And that's how it goes. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Sure. And I think, going back to accountability too, if you are unfortunately fumbling every once in a while, because again, we're human, it happens, and it seems to be a reoccurring issue, that's then that communication and that open line will help alleviate stress of, oh no, I let somebody down, into, all right, apparently the system I have right now isn't working for me. Exactly. How can I change and adapt that to ensure that this doesn't happen again? Is it more calendar reminders? Is it a Teams reminder? Is it pop-ups? What is it? Like, those are like, does it need to be a giant note, a sticky note on your computer screen? Because I know I am queen of Post-it space around my desk because I can easily jot something down and place it. And then when I'm like, this is done, I can remove it and I can physically do an action. But it's different for everybody. And I think, realizing those shortcomings, it isn't always necessarily a bad thing, because that's how you grow.
Exactly.
And especially in those stressful situations, it may feel like it's piling onto the stress, but that it's going to be clear skies once you get through all that issue.
For sure. And like you said, it's only improvements from there. It's kind of like when you're getting constructive criticism. Like, that's just how it is. Everything that you do is not perfect. That's the truth. No matter what you're doing, it will never be 100% perfect. There's always going to be something somewhere that could be better, and that is okay. But like you said, it's an opportunity for you. Maybe you didn't have the calendar invite in the right calendar. Maybe you didn't have it here. Maybe your system, like you said, isn't working because, I don't know, your dog keeps eating your Post-it notes. Well, of course you forgot because your dog ate it. It's like, oh, my dog ate my homework. But what about on your side? So when you are dealing with that with like your team or with other people around you with the new system, like that frustrating time, what does that follow-up look like for you for those that aren't taking it well, that are getting overly frustrated? What are mechanisms and like strategies that you use to like help bring them back to earth and keep that ball pushing forward for progress?
Absolutely. It kind of goes back into starting that line of communication. Like, I can see that there's frustration there. They've messaged me a bunch of their frustration or asked me a bunch of questions. I try and respond with what the information that I have available for the implementation of this new project or whatever. And, sometimes it's not meant really great. And at that, I just go, okay, I'm stressed because all of this is changing. They're stressed because they're trying to understand, and they may not fully agree with the changes of what's happening. So I know I'm still feeling tense in my body at that moment. So I usually just have a moment where I take a deep breath. I just kind of close my eyes and just sit in quiet, and I count to 20. And then I go, you know what? Let's hop on a call. Let's have this conversation. You can vent to me about everything that you need to vent to. I can hear your frustration, and I can be an outlet. And then I can say, I understand where you're coming from. Or I can say, hey, I think this is where this miscommunication is. So let's take a step back. And then I'm able to help talk them off of that ledge a little bit more and get them more in a centered space, because some people are just reactionary. They'll always react no matter what, just like a flash in a pan, just all of a sudden gasoline to a fire, if you will. And when that happens, it's very easy for you to get reactionary and for you to just only communicate through your emotions instead of through a conversation.
Yep.
And I think that's the hardest part. And remembering like, hey, tensions are high, emotions are high. I am tasked with the responsibility of bringing that down, even if mine isn't quite there. I need to just sit with it for just a few seconds, do what I need to do to stress, like de-stress. If that's squeezing a stress ball, cool. If that's taking a big drink of water, if that's doing a lap around your office for just 2 or 3 times and then coming back, that issue is still going to be there. It doesn't need to be waiting until an entire day, but it can wait a minute or two while you get yourself centered and right to be as helpful as you can for the people who need you.
Yeah, because if you're going into that conversation emotional with someone who is emotional, it's not going to end well. Like, I've dealt with that plenty of times. That's one thing that I sometimes struggle with is, especially if it's like a reoccurring thing and it happens all of the time, I get really, really frustrated. But using those things like saying like, okay, like, hey, can I look at this with you in an hour? Can we wait a second? I have time in my calendar for it. I don't have to jump on it right now. Things like that. That is definitely something that helps me too. Sometimes it is, like you said, just getting up and walking around and removing yourself completely from the situation for a moment so you can say, it's not really worth it. I do not need to react this way. It's not the end of the world for me. We got this. We're good.
Yeah. Absolutely.
For
Absolutely.
Sure. Well, I would like to know a little bit about what you learned from this episode.
Well, I learned that I'm not alone in my struggles with stress, and that, you know, hearing the wisdom of our previous guests and having those conversations about holding myself accountable, understanding, you know, constructive criticism, the communication, and, you know, staying in more of a positive frame of mind really does help stay calm in those stressful situations when they arise.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we were able to work together a little bit. I know I really stressed you out at the beginning, but we got through it. We stayed calm. We got there, and here we are.
Yeah, just needed that reminder.
Exactly. So if there are any other resources that you would like, please go ahead and look into our show notes. And until next time, find your purpose, find your people, find your place.